over 100 people have matched the terror watch list. 100 people. That's a 500% increase from the encounters of previous year. And regardless of your testimony today, under oath, that your testimony today that our border is secure, Americans can look at the numbers. We can look at the numbers right here and see from 2017 to 2021 and all the way into 2022, fiscal year 22, over 100 people matched the terror watch list. All of you have testified today that you're worried about terrorism. Really? And you see here the gotaways. And Secretary Mayorkas, you've told me several times under oath that we have operational control of the southern border. And I assume that you maintain that because you testified earlier today. How many of these people match the terror watch list? How many of the 600,000 known gotaways match the terror watch list?
Congressman, your question points to the very reason why we prioritize national security and public safety in our immigration enforcement efforts. Why,
Mr. Secretary, can I reclaim just a minute? I'm going to reclaim my time. I think that is false. I've been to the southern border, and I've talked to your Border Patrol agents. And you know what they tell me? That on any given shift, 70% of them are relegated to administrative duties. They are not in the field doing the national security mission. How many of these 600,000 people, can you assure the American people that not a single one of these 600,000 people are a threat to our safety, that they don't match the terror watch list, that they're not part of a criminal or transnational organization?
Congressman, your citation to that 70% is inaccurate. So
that's what your agents have told me personally. So I'm just taking their word for it.
I have the benefit of a vantage point of what the entire border presents, as well as what we are doing about it. One of the things that we've done about the fact that Border Patrol agents were too often
Secretary, answer the question. How many of the 600,000 people? No, we have 2 minutes left.
I know, but I feel compelled to.
You don't have the time to do that. I want to know how many of the 600,000 people match the terror watch list.
Well, Congressman, by definition, they are gotaways.
Okay, so you don't know. And so how can you say that the border is secure? It's the American people aren't buying it. We're not buying it because the deaths that are happening in our communities, I've invited you to come with me. I was in Del Rio the day before you got there when the 15,000 Haitians were there. I've been to El Paso. I've been to the Rio Grande Valley. You're going to hear more on that later. Let's put up another slide because you're not going to answer that question. But while we're putting up the next slide, do you maintain that we have operational control of the southern border?
Congressman, let me just say one thing very briefly, and then I'll answer your question. It is very difficult to answer your question when I'm not given the opportunity to do so, number one.
As my colleagues have said.
And number two, I do feel compelled to correct inaccuracies that are contained in your question for the benefit of the American people.
The accuracies are, the facts that I have stated are reported by you and your department.
Congressman, so we are dedicated to resourcing the United States Border Patrol with additional personnel, with additional technology, using barriers advisedly where they are most beneficial.
Okay, that's not my question.
To deliver enhanced security.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for that. I've heard you say, and President Biden, and this is your legacy, okay? The American people can count. We can count. There's a humanitarian crisis at our southern border. I've been down there. You and President Biden have continued to ignore this problem. And fiscal year 22 was the deadliest year on record. More than 800 migrants died. Do you remember the 53 that died in a tractor trailer in the heat of July, south of San Antonio, Texas? This is the legacy. The American people are demanding that you secure the border. You have testified under oath today that it is secure. It is not.